Good afternoon, all. I see we got 19 people on. How are you on this beautiful Wednesday day? And nobody's going to say anything. But look, so let me set the ground rules. All of you have probably been on these sort of webinars. If you have a question and you want to ask it, please ask in the chat. We're going to have one of our great staff members at the BDC to field those questions. And throughout, I may ask for some of the questions throughout the presentation, or I may wait to the end. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. And Dre, why don't you ping me something if we have a whole host of questions and you feel that I should, or you should, or somebody should answer it. So we're just going to wait about 2 minutes. What time is it now? What time is it? Wait about a minute and a half, and then we'll get stuck in. Okay, let's start moving. Okay, welcome all again. We are at the lunch and learn for the BDC. We're going to talk about the EEZ concessions. Some of our products, or all of our products, in fact. There's a good opportunity to get a real cursory view of what we offer that will assist you on your entrepreneurial journey. As well as I think we're going to feature, we are going to feature the new startups payroll tax concessions. Hence why you see Trudy Simmons here. Trudy, give him a wave, thumbs up. Trudy is from Payroll Tax. She's a guru there, and she'll be able to field any questions that you have from a payroll tax perspective, which, you know, in my experience, many of you have questions about how payroll works, what to do, and so on and so forth. So without further ado, I will get cracking. So first of all, BDC, what do we do? This is some bits and pieces of what we do: general business and technical advice, entrepreneurship workshops and events that we hold throughout the year, entrepreneurial courses and education. These are phenomenal courses that will give you the education that you need to avoid a lot of the mistakes that we as entrepreneurs have made, who are seasoned and not so seasoned. So they're a great source of huge education that will help you going forward. We also sort of look over the economic empowerment zones. We have 3 economic empowerment zones, one in St. George's, one in Somerset, and one in Northeast Hamilton. We'll talk about that a little later. Vendor markets, we hold a host of vendor markets throughout the island, and we administer vending licenses. Business mentorship program, that's a big one. We have one every year. There's a 12-month program where entrepreneurs come into an accelerator cohort where they can utilize our resources at the BEDC, as well as get access to the entrepreneurial courses and education. Also, they have mentors, and all of us there who have been through and are currently in an entrepreneurial venture or have so much knowledge that we can assist in certain areas. And then we have international partnerships that provide us some added value through their experience in other jurisdictions and in other sort of entrepreneurial worlds, if you will. So next, BDC products, which these are, we're going to look at all of these. We're going to go over them real quick. If you have any questions, again, put your questions in the chat. So one, we've got the microloan program. We've got the loan overdraft guarantee program, customs letter of credit, the EEZ customs duty deferral, payroll tax relief, and the EEZ payroll tax relief. So why did we come up with these things? Well, the BDC, based on new legislation, came up with this in conjunction with government. We all know that in entrepreneurship, you know, there's a lot of obstacles and red tape that makes it a challenge to start a business, and in fact prevents a lot of people from even getting into the arena. And we all know that it's entrepreneurship. It's small and medium-sized businesses that actually make an economy tick. So the government works closely with the BEDC to support you as entrepreneurs by helping to release some of these challenges. And these challenges are typically, I'll tell you, it's high cost of operation and the need of funding to start a venture or to scale up. So what government did in 2018 is they provided legislation that offered relief from payroll tax for new startups, and that's a big it's a big cost for startups because they have to pay 6.76, I want to say 6.75%, Trudy, or somewhere like that, for a new startup who have who has a payroll at a certain level. That's like a beginner level. Can't remember the amount of the tier for that payroll tax, but it's a significant amount. Any amount starting a business is significant. So hence we have the payroll tax relief for new startups, as well as all the other products that we provide. And you will see how these products are here to help you not only in startup phase, but in scale up, as well as any other point in your entrepreneurial journey and life. The good old general microloan. This is a powerful tool. It's a loan that assists businesses for anything from inventory, capital startup, anything you need in terms of capital, we can provide. It's a direct loan from the BEDC. Right now, it's actually moved from, because of COVID, the loan amount is moved from 20,000 to 30,000. It's up to 42 months. And again, because of COVID, we've moved that term from 2 years, 24 months, to almost doubling it to 42 months. And so what does that do? That provides you with added cash flow on a day-to-day basis by reducing that monthly payment back to this monthly payment of the loan. The interest rate is 3.5% for regularly. Now, if you're in the EEZ, this is an EEZ concession. It's 3%. Now you gotta understand, this is a great interest rate, because if you're going to one of the banks for, and I'm not knocking one of the banks, but I mean, this is what we're here to help entrepreneurs. But if you're going to one of the banks, you're looking at something like 7-8%. So this is massive discount. Furthermore, again, this is a COVID-19 related reduction in the rate. It used to be 5% and 4.5% respectively. Now it's 3.5 and 3%. Okay, it's for startup and existing small and medium-sized businesses, including vendors. So if you're a vendor, you see a vendor here in the picture offering that beautiful hot dog because I'm hungry, I feel like eating it. But at any rate, yep, it's for vendors as well. The BDC Guarantee Program. So the Guarantee Program now used to just be a loan guarantee. Now it's a loan and an overdraft guarantee. So in this case, the BDC does not administer the loan or the overdraft per se. We, in fact, are the guarantor of the loan or the overdraft. So what you would do, in essence, you would go to one of the three banks, and you would go for a loan or an overdraft. You would apply for that. And what we would do as a BDC, because the bank requires this, we would provide up to 75% guarantee for that loan. The bank wants 100%. So we're providing 3/4 of that guarantee for you. And that's up to an amount of 300,000. So how many people can we service? Well, so we have 12 million in total of that loan guarantee capacity, of which some of it has been used because of COVID and whatnot. But that's our capacity from on an annual basis, which could change based on budget restraints or based on budget surplus. We'll see. But right now it's 12 million. So we act as the guarantor of last resort. So, you know, if you have, you know, cash in the bank or assets that are readily available to provide that guarantee to the bank, we will ask that you do that so that we can supply the support to persons who really need it. So if you don't have that, then that's when we jump into play. And many persons or small businesses or groups, you know, they just can't find that guarantee. They look for, you know, a family member. They look for all sorts of things, and it's tough. And so that's where we come into play, and we try to assist to get you over the finish line, to get your funding. So the HM Customs Letter of Credit, that's another great product that we offer. This product is for retail businesses. It's designed for retail businesses or important goods for retail sale, of course. So the credit line, so how it works is, you know, you're going to bring in some stuff, and up front, as soon as it lands, typically, well, not typically, customs is going to ask you for the money for duty. So what we've done is we've deferred the duty so that you can then reap some of the revenue from, or hopefully all of the revenue from the stuff that you bring in. This helps you again with cash flow. The credit line is up to 10,000. So if you bring, and that's for 1 year period. So if you bring stuff in, and let's say the duty is 5,000, and you have 3 months to pay it back, you pay that 5,000, and guess what? After you pay that 5,000, you can then do it again. You can order some more stuff and get that deferral for 3 months, and you can do that over and over again. This is just, again, helping you to have that much needed cash flow to pay bills, salary, you name it, so that you can operate your business the most effective way possible. We offer, and this is 100% guaranteed by the BEDC. So what's happening is this credit is being offered to you. It's going to HM Customs, and they are saying, okay, fine, we will go ahead and honor this because the BEDC is backing this line of credit. Is there any questions so far, Dre, that we need to jump into? You know, it's always tough doing some of these webinars because you can't see the audience. You can't see if, you know, you got some some people who might be thinking, what is he talking about? Maybe I can expound on it. But Dre, we got anything yet?
No question, chat.
Okay, I guess that means I'm doing an awesome job. I can't even see thumbs up, but I'll keep on good. So the next one is the customs duty deferral. Sounds like the other one, yes, but it's a little different. Well, it's a lot different, in fact. So this applies, I'm going to read it. This applies to all imported goods, materials, merchandise, and construction and other equipment used in the construction or development of a project that meets the intent of the approved scheme. So what this is basically saying, if you have a brick and mortar place and you're doing retail or service or something of that nature, and you need to enhance it, you need to do some, beautification, make some renovations so that you can attract more clients or facilitate more product offering, you name it, then you fall within this space. And this is specifically for the EEZs. This is an EEZ concession. So if you're located in one of the EEZs, then you would be eligible for this product. So, and the duty deferment is a whopping 5 years. So it's not the 3 months, it's 5 years. And the payment can be made over sort of equal payments of either 5. So equal payments, 1 each year, or you can do 4, or you can do 3, or you can do 2 equal payments. So it's very flexible, and it's there again to provide incentive for small business, and more importantly, provide incentive for businesses to operate in one of our economic empowerment zones. All right, let's get to the payroll tax relief, the main event. So here's the key features. One, you got to register with the BEDC. That's easy. You can go on bedc.bm. There's a link there, pretty prominent. You can do it all online. Bingo, bango, you're registered. It's only available to startup entrepreneurs. So if you start it or you think you're going to be starting a business, which I'm sure many of you are thinking about starting a business, that's why you're here. So you just know in your mind that as soon as you start, you're able to get this relief. However, you've got to apply to the BEDC, and I would suggest you doing so, just in time, so that you can get this relief as soon as you start. Right? You don't want to wait 2 or 3 months after you start, because you would have wasted 2 or 3 months, and you would not get the full benefit. So for the new startup, you get four tax periods from consentment date from the start of your business. So again, I'm saying you've got to do it as soon as you start your business. The tax periods, the 4 tax periods are basically 4 quarters of the year. Am I right, Trudy?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you want to do that. I just want to stress that, because some people, they have come in. Unfortunately, they started 3 months, 6 months ago, and they're thinking that, okay, I'm going to get the whole 4 tax periods, and like, eesh, no, you kind of wasted a bit of it, and you don't want to do that. 5 days business, so 5 business days to approve your application. Once it's completed, you bring it into us. Our service level agreement is 5 business days. So let's dive in a little deeper. So the package consists of, you get a scope, details, and product procedures document. You also get a checklist to help you figure, I got that, I got this, I got that, so I'm ready to submit. As well as, and we put the application, that's part of the checklist, but the application is key, of course, so that's a whole part of the package. Just skim through this real quick. I mean, this is just the procedure that you would go through. You would register, you would, put your application in. The BEDC officer may do a site visit depending on if you have a site. Some places are e-commerce based, but we would do a site visit. That's typically because we're mandated to ensure that, in fact, this is a legitimate business and operating, and so we do that. You got the Office of the Tax Commissioner, as well as the Department of Social Insurance. We ensure that that's going on and that you're all signed up, and the dates will coincide with the commencement of the business. Typically, sometimes not, but we do that check as well. The officer, like myself, will do a recommendation of approval or refusal from the to the executive director. Now, saying that, I just said BDC officer. I did not introduce myself, and I do apologize. Dante Hunt. I am the officer in the micro, small, and medium enterprise section of the BEDC. So we actually deal directly with the entrepreneurs. We deal with the applications, and we have a whole host of fun doing it. And I love my job. But in any rate, let's go. BEDC's executive director will approve or refuse the application, and then you will get your letter that goes to the Office of the Tax Commissioner. So here, I just put this in here so you see the checklist, so you actually know what you have to provide, and it's not much. You got the application, which is a straightforward, your name, address, blah, blah, blah. And then you have your valid ID. If it is a brick and mortar place, a signed commercial lease, a utility bill to confirm address, of course, the list of employees, the Department of Social Insurance and the Office of the Tax Commissioner will provide you with letters with dates that would indicate that you're all signed up and you're ready to go, you're legit. If you are a LLC or limited liability company or limited company, then you will provide your register of company certificate. If it's just an e-commerce business, then you'll look for your website address and NIC documentation. For those of you who do have a e-commerce business or are looking to do one, you probably would know about that. If not, you will. And then bank statements, of course, to see that you're legit, your business is actually up and running or going to be up and running. And if you don't have one of these, always, call us, speak to our officer, and we can guide you through the process the best we can. So this is just a glimpse of the application. I'm just going to skim through this. As you can see, it's pretty straightforward. Address, names, signature. So the EEZ payroll tax relief. How am I doing in time? Okay. We're doing. So the new startup payroll tax relief and the EEZ payroll tax relief, in terms of the application, are pretty much identical. The difference is what's under the hood. What's the benefit? And with the EEZ payroll tax relief, it's a bigger benefit or a greater concession. And why was this created? Well, it was created to encourage and attract new and existing businesses to start up or relocate. If you're not a startup and you actually have a business, you can relocate to an EEZ, whether it be St. George's, Somerset, or Northeast Hamilton. And what we want to do is assist with the regeneration and the growth of these areas. These areas have been specifically allocated for regeneration and growth, and as such, we provide, and the government has provided these greater concessions to encourage this regeneration and growth. So with this particular, with the EEZ payroll tax relief, it's gone from 4 tax periods, which equal 1 year, to 2-year period of financial or payroll tax relief, which again, you can see greater concession, greater incentive. Makes sense to, if you can, to move into the EEZ. And again, just like the new startup, the employer portion of the payroll tax is 0 for that period of time. Again, similar to the startup, register with BEDC. It's available to businesses located in any one of the EEZs, Northeast Hamilton. I should have highlighted Somerset and St. George's EEZs, but for all EEZs, if you're located there, of course, you got the 9 tax periods. I already said that. And again, it's the 5 business days for processing, approval, and distribution of that letter to the Office of the Tax Commissioner. Joy, we got questions? Any questions? No questions so far?
Yes, we just have one question. Is the area of the BLDC considered EEZ?
Is the area of the BLDC considered EEZ? So the EEZs, for instance, in St. George's, the EEZ starts, and somebody please correct me if I'm wrong, but it starts from, as you drive into St. George's, you see the sign that says St. George's, starts from there and goes all the way into St. George's. Dre, Somerset, give me definitive Somerset location.
Somerset starts just after Somerset Bridge and stops just after, what's that road? It goes through Mangrove Bay, those roads, and I want to stops just after the second bridge.
Hi, Dante. Can you hear me?
Oh, I got everybody. We've got this is Raymond Lambert. He's the director of the micro, small, and medium enterprise section. So he's our boss. So yes, Ray, we hear you, my friend.
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, St. George's is Mullet Bay, in through the town, out as far as Fort St. Catharines, and then Somerset, as Andrea said, is just past Somerset Bridge. So it's actually at Willowbank, out as far as Watford Bridge.
Excellent, excellent. And Northeast Hamilton, you've got you're going from Victoria Street, King Street, then you're going to go North Street, and then you're going to come up. Where am I missing, Ray? You're going to come up to
Avenue.
Yes.
Okay.
In any rate, what you can do, we have maps of the areas, and us throwing out streets, I know it's tough to understand exactly what we're talking about if you're not there, but no, these are defined areas that are allocated for the EEZs. I hope I answered that question. If not, you can re-ask it so that I can better facilitate that. Just like the new startup, you're going to have your scoping, detail, and product procedures document, your checklist, your application form, and then your employee reporting form. Both of them are very, very, very similar. Again, its difference is the concession value. Again, much like the new startups, I don't want to waste time and go over this unless anybody has any questions. Also, again, the application checklist the checklist is quite similar. You got the application, you got the ID, commercial lease if you're on a brick and mortar, utility bill for the address, list of employees, Department of Social Insurance, and the Office of Tax Commissioner will give you a letter that you will provide to us. If you're a limited liability company, register of company, you'll get your certificate, provide that to us. If you have a website, you give us your documentation, and of course the bank statement. Application, here's a sample of sort of the list of employees, with social insurance number, full-time, part-time, pretty straightforward stuff. And that is the end of my spiel. I'm going to open up to questions. Trudy, did you have anything you wanted to add? I know you're here, and last time you were here, we had a whole host of questions about payroll tax. Did you have anything that you wanted to add, or do we have any questions?
So just want to add that it's important that you register with our office. You need to have that letter. That letter is very important. It's for the bank, it's for BDC. It's a letter that's used, all throughout Bermuda. And you should have it so that you can also apply for the concessions that BDC has to offer.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Trudy. I mean, yeah, that payroll tax document is going to be used for your bank account. It's a powerful tool that you have, and you're not legitimate without it.
Yeah.
Without your payroll tax and I get the questions all the time. Maybe a handful of 5 times a week in my client meetings, and they're saying, how do I establish a legitimate business? And the first thing I say is, got to see payroll tax and it's social insurance. And so, you've got private pension and health as well, if your employees and yourself. But those are the 2 sort of big ones you've got to get done.
Yeah.
We have a couple more questions. I don't know if you want to answer them now.
Yeah, sure. Well, we're done, so you can shoot.
So someone is asking, is there a need to set up a corporate tax ID before applying for an exemption?
A corporate tax ID. I don't know what that is, because there's 3 sort of business structures that you need to do. One, you can be a sole proprietor. If you're a sole proprietor, or you have a partnership in that space, then you need a payroll tax ID. You need your social insurance. If then you can be a limited liability company, and if you're that, then again, you need your payroll tax and you need your social insurance. If you're a limited company, again, you need your payroll tax or your social insurance. And so the common denominator is the payroll tax, social insurance, and I don't want to diminish the value of, or the importance, I should say, of health insurance and private pension. Those are mandatory for employees. You yourself being the entrepreneur, you are in fact the employer and the employee. So, and you need the private pension and the health insurance for your benefit. So these are 2 things that you definitely need. So of course the board, you've got the 4 sort of pillars of operating a business, or at least starting a business and being compliant with government. But I'm not sure what a corporate ID is.
I think they're referring to a payroll tax ID. So yeah, she will need a payroll tax ID to register for the exemption. The second question is, when does the exemption run from? The business would have had to have been started after 2017 to be eligible for a payroll tax, new startup payroll tax relief program. It would be from your incorporation date. It's only for businesses that is a first-time business owner will be able to apply for the new startup tax relief. Then your third question is, are there any specific rules for firms with part-time employees only?
What was that, sorry?
Are there any specific rules for firms with part-time employees only? Maybe payroll tax wants to state what they consider a part-time employee for these people, because I do this often and they never believe me. So I'll let you explain what a part-time employee is, and then I'll give you the full question.
Okay, so according to our legislation, a person that is not an employee is someone who works less than 16 hours per month. So if you're working more than 16 hours per month, you're liable to pay payroll tax. If you're under the age of 16, then you don't have to pay payroll tax. And finally, if you are working overseas and you come to Bermuda to work, if you are here less than 4 consecutive weeks, then you're not liable to payroll tax. Otherwise than that, everybody else pays payroll tax.
Perfect. I'm glad it came from you. And Are company directors covered by the exemption?
Our company directors, are they what, sorry?
Covered by the exemptions?
Are they getting a salary? I mean,
Yeah, they got a salary, then they have to pay payroll tax as well.
That's correct. That's correct. If they're a director and they're providing direct services to the company, then they're liable for payroll tax as well.
I got a question for you, Trudy, actually. So if you are a director,
Mm-hmm.
you're not involved, but you get a dividend
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Does that lie within your domain of taxable stuff?
So directors that are providing services to the company is separate from a shareholder. A shareholder just holds shares in a company, but a director is providing services to the company somehow, whether they're signing off on checks, making decisions. If they're receiving a dividend at the end of the year, we do have a dividend declaration, whereby if they are getting more than 10,000, then the amount that's greater than 10,000 is taxable. So there's a deductible of 10,000 that is not taxable, but anything over $10,000 in that year is taxable.
Okay, got you. Anything over 10,000 is taxable. Is that on a tier base? So you got, say, 10,000 to, so $10,001 to, say, 100,000 is one rate, and then 100,000 to, is it?
Well, that would be something that's separate. That will be the bands.
Okay.
That's the employee portion.
Mm.
So that goes according to how much remuneration they receive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions, Dre?
Alright, so then once you have BDC approval, does the payroll tax office send you anything, or do you as the owner vendor need to do anything? The owner vendor still needs to file. You're not exempt from filing. You still have to file every quarter. You just will be exempt from paying the employer portion, of payroll tax. So you have to take your ladder to payroll tax once you get confirmed and approved from BDC, but you as the business owner, you are still responsible to file taxes every single quarter.
That's right. That's a very important point, because you have to remember that if you're getting this concession, the employer portion is exempt, but like I said earlier, every employee has to pay payroll tax. So you have to remember that even though you get the concession, you still have to file every quarter for the employee's portion.
I think this would probably be a Smith question, and this would have to get answered afterwards. Is it possible to look at the BLDC area as an EEZ?
When they say BLDC area, you mean the BLDC like where we're located, actually right now?
I believe so, but isn't that in St. David's?
Mm-hmm. It is in David's.
I mean, sorry, where they're located right now, BLDC. Yeah, that would definitely have to be. But I mean, right now it's legislated that we have the boundaries of each EEZ. So what that would require would be, some impetus to change that legislation to include the BLDC, which, hey, it could happen. It could happen. It's just not put it this way, the BEDC itself could not just make the decision to add or diminish a location. It would have to go through Parliament and through the legislative process.
You have another question, but Trudy, you may be able to explain it further. But it says, kind of business with new employees that apply for the relief for any future hires. I would say it doesn't make any sense, because you're paying, the relief is only for 1 year. So if you have new employees, you're not going to save any money at all. You're just going to take away, and you wouldn't have even put the program to use.
So you're saying that a company registers for payroll tax, but they don't have employees?
If they want to know, if they apply for the new startup payroll tax relief right now and they don't have any employees, is it beneficial for future hires?
Oh, right. Yeah. It wouldn't be, because like you said, it's just for those 4 quarters.
So you got the 4 quarters, I'm sorry, you got the 4 quarters for the new startup, but you the 9 quarters for the EEZ.
Easy.
So
Right.
just want to put that plug in there to get you in the EEZ, go to the EEZ.
Right.
Another question for you, Trudy. So if you're a shareholder, because we've got some, I'm sure we have out of the 31, we had 50 persons who signed up for this. You know, I'm sure one of them want to know about shareholder payroll tax responsibility, if there is such, right? So if I'm a shareholder and you know, I get some sort of remuneration, not from service rendered, but maybe there's some sort of dividend attached to it, annual. Is that also, does that also apply to the sort of, I think you mentioned anything over 10,000 per annum is taxable?
Right. So if you can recall, I said that anyone who's providing direct services to the company, so shareholders are shareholders, they have shares in a company, but they're not necessarily working for the company. So as someone that's providing direct services to the company, whether it be a director, partner, a deemed employee, they are liable for payroll taxes on any remuneration that's received, whether it be bonuses, dividends, wages, benefits. Yeah.
But not shareholders who are not doing, they're just shareholders, just
Right.
whatever.
Correct. Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah. So we have good afternoon. Are there benefits to locating a business in Sandies or near the eastern or western end of Bermuda? You want to answer, Dante?
Well, I mean, Sandy's, I mean, that doesn't fall, it does, well, see, I'm not as familiar as you with some, that doesn't fall within the EEZ. So the only concessions that or greater concessions that we have concessions for all entrepreneurs. And I say that because all of our products are by far very advantageous for entrepreneurs as opposed to any other financial institution. That's why we're created. But for the EEZs, you get greater concessions, and you only get greater concessions within the confined areas of Somerset and you know, St. George's and Northeast Hamilton. So I guess the answer would be no for Sandy's for greater concessions, but yes for everything within a prescribed EEZ. And I guess the question could be, what is the prescribed EEZ? We did kind of explain it before, but you want to see it on a map basis. Ray, are you still online?
Yes, I am.
I mean, I can't recall if we have the map online or not. I'm sure we do.
Yeah, so I mean, it depends on what they meant. Obviously, Somerset isn't Sandy. The EEZ is just that. So it goes from Willowbank, as we had mentioned, goes out through Long Bay Lane in Somerset, goes out to Daniels Head, takes in Cambridge Beaches, comes back to Watford Bridge, and then goes up through Middle Road. There are some areas in all 3 zones, but particularly in Somerset and St. George's, where there have been areas added where there is already some commercial usage. It does not include the whole geographic area of Somerset, as well as St. George's. So there are some residential spaces in both areas that aren't within the EEZ, even though they are geographically in Somerset. But to answer the question, there are parts of Sandies where it is not covered. I will say though, as we talk about concessions, it also depends on the industry as to what concessions are available. So if you're opening up a restaurant, there are some concessions that may be available. In retail, there are some concessions that I believe are coming up. So always check with the chamber, and also just make sure you're aware of your industry and concessions may be, because there are concessions that BEDC doesn't cover, yet your industry allows for certain tax deductions or duty deferment or duty omission altogether. So always check within the chamber and other areas as well.
Great. That was awesome. Any more?
Next one. You ready for the next one? You got a lot in here.
Sure.
So the next one is any recommendation for health insurance connected to BEDC?
Any recommendations for health insurance connected to the EEZ? It's to BEDC.
Yeah.
No, but what I can say, because there's no real connection to the BEDC for health insurance, but the landscape for health insurance is this. We have three private offers or private companies of health insurance. You got your BF&M, you got your Argus, you got your Colonial. You've also got the Bermuda sort of health insurance, HIP, the Bermuda Health Insurance Plan. So you also have supplemental like Moongate. Moongate has supplemental health insurance. So I think I'm giving a shout out to everybody. But those are your players, right? And so you're going to go and see what they offer in terms of benefit and cost. And you can do a mix and match. You can, for instance, do a little bit of HIP, which we all know tends to be a little lower or a lot lower than some of the private offers. But again, you got to offset that with their actual health offering and benefit, because you get what you pay for. But then you can offset that with the Moongate, or you see what I mean, with the supplemental. And with Moongate does sort of a menu of appetizers, if you will, of additional health benefits. So you can do sort of like a HIP with a little bit of Moongate to offset cost. Anyway, the point is, no, there's no real connection to us as the BEDC for health insurance, but we can certainly guide you towards, just like I did just now, towards the players in the market.
In regards to the question that was asked earlier about the BLDC being considered for an EEZ, Smith has replied, if the businesses within these areas band together and put forward a case for why Southside should be made an EEZ, that can be put up for consideration. They have to make the case why it makes sense, looking at the socio-economic status of that area.
Yeah, 100%. So it's the democratic process, it sounds as if, I mean, if you get enough individuals who have a case, and it's sort of like a choir, they're singing on the same song sheet, and it makes sense, then we can put it forward, and I think Eureka made the case.
This one says, we had a BEDC member health insurance plan before, but the health partners decided to end their previous plans. The challenge is sustainability of the rates and also the demographics, age, sex, health, and status within each business is different and makes it challenging to underwrite. We have been looking at this to see if we can have another program again. That's in regards to the health insurance question that someone had asked earlier. Smith just replied to that as well.
Can you repeat that again? Because that was, so this is from Eureka Smith. And those who are listening, Eureka Smith is the executive director of the BEDC. Her tenure with the BEDC is, I want to say, over 15 years. She is well versed in all things BEDC and all things entrepreneurship. she's my mentor, and I think all of our mentor, and she's a wealth of knowledge. Can you repeat that again?
In regards to the person earlier who asked about the health insurance membership plans from BEDC, she mentioned that BEDC members' health insurance plan, they had one before, but the health partners decided to end their previous plans. It's been challenging to sustain as the rates depend on the demographics of age, sex, and health status within each business, and that is different with each, and it makes it challenging to underwrite. And BDC has been looking at this to see if we can have another program again.
Yeah, yeah. And I hope our listeners understand that, you know, the way health insurance works, it works. I mean, maybe I'm trying to simplify it. Maybe I don't need to, but I feel obligated to. You know, the way health insurance works is that, you know, you want to get a pool of individuals who have a core section of age, health. You know, because it matters, right? Because, for instance, let me give you an example. If you had one company with 10 employees, and all 10 employees were senior, you know, they were kind of, when I say senior, let me say at age, they were 64. All 10 of them were 64. And then you had another employee who had, you know, 10 employees, and all of them were 24. So because of the age, you know, as you get older, you have more issues. I'm 42. I'm getting some issues now, but you know, as you get older, you get more issues, and that's more health costs. So, you know, the company who has 10 senior employees, which is, by the way, this is a huge pendulum swing. I'm making a point here. You know, the one that has 10 older individuals are going to be naturally have higher premiums than the one who has 10 24-year-olds who are, you know, healthy and they have less health issues. So it's a matter of trying to get this pool to work. And is it doable? I think Erika is saying it is, and I think it is. It's just how we structure it, how we put it all together. But yeah, and it's never easy with these things. But again, it's something that we have on our list of many things to do to help our awesome entrepreneurs. Hopefully that made sense and mix up people even more.
That is all the questions that I have seen thus far. I don't know if anybody has any more.
Well, if it's no more questions, let me see how we're doing for time. We are 7 minutes shy of half past the hour. So I think we've done well. Look, and if you have any questions, we're here. info@bedc.bm. You can call us. You see our number right there up on the screen to get any other information, suggestions, and how we can do better. We're always welcome, and you know, we're here for you. So thank you for tuning in.